The Leach. And thoughtfully, Zarathustra went further and deeper, through woods and past swampy valleys. But as happens to everybody who reflects on grave matters, he stepped on a man unwittingly. And behold, all at once a cry of pain and 2 curses and 20 bad insults splashed into his face and started him so that he raised his stick and beat the man on whom he had stepped. A moment later, however, he recovered his senses, and his heart laughed at the folly he had just committed. "Forgive me," he said to the man he had stepped on, who had angrily risen and sat down. "Forgive me, and, above all, listen to a parable first. As a wanderer who dreams of distant matters will unwittingly stumble over a sleeping dog on a lonely road, a dog lying in the sun, and both start and let fly at each other like mortal enemies, because both are mortally frightened. Thus it happened to us. And yet, how little was lacking. And they might have caressed each other, this dog and this lonely man, for after all, they were both lonely. "Whoever you may be," said the man he had stepped on, still angry, "your parable too offends me, and not only your foot. After all, am I a dog?" And at that, the seated man got up and pulled his bare arm out from the swamp. For at first he had been lying stretched out on the ground, concealed and unrecognizable, as one lying in wait for some swamp animal. "But what are you doing?" cried Zarathustra, startled. For he saw that much blood was flowing down the bare arm. "What has happened to you? Did a bad animal bite you, you poor wretch?" The bleeding man laughed, still angry. "What is that to you?" he said, and wanted to go on. "Here I am at home, and in my realm. Let whoever wants to ask me, but I certainly won't answer a bumpkin." "You are wrong," said Zarathustra, full of pity, and he held him back. "You are wrong. This is not your realm, but mine, and here nobody shall come to grief. Call me whatever you like. I am who I must be. I call myself Zarathustra. Well, up there runs the path to Zarathustra's cave, which is not far. Do you not want to look after your wounds in my place? Things have gone badly for you in this life, you poor wretch. First the beast bit you, and then the man stepped on you." When the man who had been stepped on heard Zarathustra's name, he changed completely. "What is happening to me?" he cried out. "Who else matters to me any more in this life but this one man, Zarathustra, and that one beast which lives on blood, the Leach? For the Leach's sake I lay here beside this swamp like a fisherman. And my arm, which I had cast, had already been bitten 10 times when a still more beautiful Leach bit, seeking my blood, Zarathustra himself. Oh happiness, oh miracle! Praised be this day that lured me into this swamp. Praised be the best, the most alive cupper living today. Praised be the great leech of conscience, Zarathustra." Thus spoke the man who had been stepped on, and Zarathustra enjoyed his words in their fine, respectful manner. "Who are you?" he asked, and offered him to his hand. There is much between us that remains to be cleared up and cheered up, but even now it seems to me the day dawns pure and bright. I am the conscientious in spirit, replied the man, and in matters of the spirit there may well be none stricter, narrower, and harder than I, except he from whom I have learned it, Zarathustra himself. Rather know nothing than half know much. Rather be a fool on one's own than a sage according to the opinion of others. I go to the ground. What does it matter whether it be great or small? Whether it be called swamp or sky? A hand's breadth of ground suffices me, provided it is really ground and foundation. A hand's breadth of ground, and on that one can stand. In the conscience of science there is nothing great and nothing small. Then perhaps you are the man who knows the leech? Zarathustra asked. And do you pursue the leech to its ultimate grounds, my conscientious friend? Oh, Zarathustra, replied the man who had been stepped on, that would be an immensity. How could I presume so much? That of which I am the master and expert is the brain of the leech. That is my world. And it really is a world, too. Forgive me that here my pride speaks up, for I have no equal here. That is why I said, here is my home. How long have I been pursuing this one thing, the brain of the leech, lest the slippery truth slip away from me here again? Here is my realm. For its sake I have thrown away everything else. For its sake, everything else has become indifferent to me. And close to my knowledge lies my black ignorance. The conscience of my spirit demands of me that I know one thing and nothing else. I loathe all the half in spirit, all the vaporists that hover and rave. Where my honesty ceases, I am blind, and I also want to be blind. But where I want to know, I also want to be honest. That is, hard, strict, narrow, cruel, and inexorable. That you, O Zarathustra, once said, spirit is the life that cuts itself into life. That introduced and seduced me to your doctrine, and verily, with my own blood, I increased my own knowledge. As is quite apparent, Zarathustra interrupted, for the blood still flowed down the bare arm of the conscientious man, 10 leeches having bitten deep into it. Oh, you strange fellow, how much I learn from what is apparent here, namely from you, and perhaps I had better not pour all of it into your strict ears. Well, here we part, but I should like to find you again. Up there goes the path to my cave. Tonight you shall be my dear guest there. To your body, too, I should like to make up for Zarathustra's having stepped on you with his feet. I shall reflect on that. Now, however, a cry of distress urgently calls me away from you. Thus spoke Zarathustra.